Hello and welcome. Today we're going to talk about how I hit my protein goal for the day without eating any meat. I've had a lot of questions recently from people asking about my diet and how, if I'm not consuming meat, where is my protein coming from? Because most of the time people only seem to care about protein and no other macronutrients. So we're giving you what you want and we're talking about protein.
And people only think protein comes from meat.
Exactly.
So let's debunk that one.
Yeah, let's debunk that, okay? And I was one of those people once upon a time. So first thing to note is that my protein goal is based on one, my body weight, and two, my activity level. So my current body weight is 59 kilos, and we're going to multiply that by 1.5, 1.6, which gives us 94, 96 grams of protein that I'm aiming to hit in a day. If you're kind of like an average person, let's say, who's not training as a professional athlete, then your protein intake daily doesn't need to be as high as that. Somewhere between 0.8 to 1.2 grams is probably sufficient, but mine needs to be slightly higher. Also, to put into context the type of day that this was, it was actually a non-training day, but typically my food intake or what I'll eat in a day doesn't change loads, whether I'm training versus whether I'm not training. Just maybe the meal timings will be slightly different. So protein is good for muscle repair and recovery and also muscle growth.
Literally every chemical reaction though that happens in your body is a result of protein in your cells, and too little or too much can have negative effects.
So breakfast then, we started off with 3 eggs poached by the egg poaching king,
Yeah,
which you can see right now. 2 slices of rye bread. I also had a quarter of an avocado.
avocados are also massive here, which is why it's only a quarter.
Yes, quarter of an
So
extra large avocado.
if you're buying small avocados, you can probably have half an avo, but for us, it only needs to be a quarter.
It's not because I'm trying to cut fats. I love avocado, but even this is too much for me. And then prior to consuming that, we also drank a kefir drink, which is also good for gut health, but is high in protein as well. I think there's 9 grams of protein in a 250 ml serving. So we'll drink that every morning as well. So total for breakfast then, 34 grams of protein between the eggs, the bread, and the kefir drink. The avocado's probably not adding much to that. If you care, fat was 31 grams and carbohydrates 56 grams. So that was breakfast. So snack was next. I had 2 slices of Ryvita crisp bread topped with cottage cheese.
Ugh,
Now, this is probably divisive.
grim. So grim.
I feel like, yeah, you're very much split down the middle whenever it comes to cottage cheese. So it's very much a love or hate thing. I love it, could just eat an entire tub of it with a spoon, no problem. But Michael's definitely not a fan.
There's no way everybody enjoys that. Like, watery cheese is it's not the one.
I mean, yeah, when you sell it like that, try it for yourself, okay? So then for protein, that came in at 17 grams. So that was 150 grams of cottage cheese, which gave us 17 grams of protein. So lunch was roasted Brussels sprouts, butternut squash, red onion, green lentils, and goat's cheese. Dinner was a chickpea, sweet potato, and kale curry. So then that had a sauce mixed in as well, which contained coconut milk, almond butter, tomato paste, and curry powder. So within that then, 15 grams of protein, 12 grams of fat, 80 grams of carbs. So small amount of protein in that, but still sufficient for what I needed for the day.
I think one of the things that a lot of people kind of get carried away with is the amount of protein that they need. So at the start of the video, if you remember, Cara said she generally has about 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of her body weight. I think probably going back maybe 10 years, people would have said that you needed upwards of 2 grams or 2.2 grams per kilogram of body weight, but that's kind of changed a lot recently. As the kind of the science and the research has obviously developed. The reason why it's kind of come down is because what we're realizing is the more protein you have, the more fat then is potentially stored in your body. So a lot of people kind of have this perception of like drinking protein shakes, and if you don't use it, you'll just weigh it out or whatever. But reality is that's not how your body works. So it is a case of anything that you have in surplus, your body just begins to store.
Yeah, but we only seem to trigger that sort of mindset whenever it comes to carbohydrates and fats.
Carbs and fats, but proteins work the exact same way. So when you have too much protein in your body will just start to store that. So that could be an interesting one for people that maybe if you are kind of like pretty clued in on how much protein you're having and your body composition and all that sort of thing, it might be a really interesting thing to look at, because it could be that you are having too much protein. That could be one cause of kind of excess body fat.
Maybe you're focusing on the overall calorie intake for the day if you know what your goal is and what you're trying to hit. But if you're only hitting that through excess protein and then you're ignoring carbohydrates and fats and any other sort of micronutrients, then you're really not getting that balance. And probably from an overall health perspective, you're starting to neglect certain parts of your diet, which again isn't an overly healthy outcome. So yes, you might be hitting the big target number, but you might need to look at how that actually looks broken down across carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, because you do obviously need them all, and we all need them in various degrees and different amounts depending on what your goals are, your current body weight, what your performance goals are, etc. But just make sure that you're not only having a view on protein and nothing else.
Okay, let's talk why meat free, because we're not vegetarian, we're not vegan, nothing like that. We do eat meat. This video has been all about hitting your protein goal without meat. So what's the point of that? What's the purpose of that? Why do you go meat free?
There are loads of protein sources out there, and you don't solely need to look at meat or at a protein shake or a supplement. If you feel like if you get rid of meat, then you need to all of a sudden run to supplementation, you can get it from Whole Foods. And just to encourage people to really try and broaden their diet a little bit more, especially if you've never tried cottage cheese before, maybe it's time you did so.
I think the massive thing is just variety, and from like a gut health perspective as well. Yeah, the more kind of different foods and different sources of protein and all that you can get in, the better kind of gut health you're going to have. So that's a massive thing too.
Yeah, and again, just encouraging to go for food first rather than running to supplements, especially like protein bars. Protein bars I'm really not I'm really not a fan of at all. I used to be in the past, and then really looking into how processed they are, and also how high they are in calories unnecessarily, whenever you can get the same amount of protein from foods that will actually fill you up more. But that's a whole other probably debate to go into.
That's probably just going to get us cancelled by everybody who trains in a gym.
Yeah.
So there you go. That is how Cara hits her protein goal, meat-free as a professional footballer. Hopefully you've enjoyed that. We hope you like the videos that we're putting out on our channel. Please subscribe, please like the videos, and share the channel with your friends.
Thanks.
See ya.